Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome.
So you've left because
Mhm.
you've left Froggy. I've
Yeah.
left. What happens when Brandi decides to leave?
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Faith can feel like hearts and butterflies until someone lights a match and burns it all to the ground. Welcome to the Burning Butterflies podcast.
The sad thing is that there's abuse of every kind within the church. But the spiritual abuse is the stuff that just
Well, it's a place there shouldn't be abuse. Like, there just shouldn't be abuse in a place that claims to.
Well, it ruins your soul. If you're new here, we suggest listening to our prologue episode first. This is the story of two women's journey through toxic church culture and spiritual abuse, all while finding healing in the end.
Sometimes it's just the facts, and if you get offended by it, that's a you issue. And if we can't be mature enough to have these conversations, even if some of the topics are difficult, then shame on us.
Yeah, like Brandi stayed behind, right? And you and I are in different but similar modes of deconstruction. I think it's so interesting to we live in such an instant gratification world, and you see so many people go through things and then just be like, yep, that's done, moving on, right? Moving on. And I had done that in my life for so long. But like I was saying, in our last episode, like I finally was like, nope, I'm not rushing this. There's no time frame. I'm going to trudge into whatever I have to trudge into. And I think that became a theme. I know for you, it became a theme. It was a theme for me of like, we were so rocked just in the level, we've talked about this on this podcast, of leaving the church, that like we even questioned like the existence of God and our salvation. And like it rocked everybody to such a raw level point of like ground zero, right?
Yeah.
And we're going through all this through this time, and we are podcasting, and you and I are both researchers. Like we love to learn, we love to research, and we go down some crazy rabbit holes. And it's funny to think about how the podcast was like, the topics started to change.
Mm-hmm.
And as we deconstructed, the podcast deconstructed, and the circles of people that we met and the things that we were doing, because you left in April, I left in June, and Brandi left.
It was July. It was July. Yep.
Yeah. So I left 2 months after you did. Brandi left a month after I did. But that's a total of like 4 months of like this process of beginning.
Yeah.
4 months into deconstructing.
Yeah. And
Yes.
keep in mind, this whole time, you and I are being shit talked on.
Yeah.
Like within the church. And things are being said like, oh, Amanda's poor husband. Poor Justin. Amanda ripped him away from the only church he ever knew. His church family. Those poor children.
Yeah.
We were their family.
Yeah.
And Amanda took them all away.
And I really am curious. I don't know what was said about me. I don't know. There's like a couple different things that were said like on social media, and then people I'd run into. There were people that I ran into that were shocked that we weren't divorced yet.
Yeah, because I think what was being said was, well, Melissa kicked Froggy out and divorced him. Melissa left Froggy. And so whether it was said you divorced him or if it was Melissa left Froggy, it was implied. And so it was still this like,
I know it was my fault.
Yeah, you walked away from your marriage. You are the bad woman. You,
Yeah.
terrible Jezebel of a woman, left your husband. You didn't live up to your vows to God and to your husband.
Yeah.
I am a terrible woman because I have led my whole family astray down the road of damnation.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because at this time, you and I are still friends with Brandi.
Yeah.
Like, we are still close friends with Brandi, but yet she remained at the church and she remained serving at the church. And
Yeah.
it was almost this like, no one shit talked us to her,
Right.
but it was being done and she was aware of it. So it was just like we're just going to ignore that it's happening.
And okay, so I don't remember, and maybe you do, like, was she plotting it all to leave? I don't remember her plotting to leave the church ever.
No. So when I left, she knew she wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And then
like, I know that.
when you stopped going, after you guys had your like, Miss America has and Charlotte have to tell us what's wrong with us meeting. She knew she was done.
Yeah.
The problem is
I remember her being done.
she wasn't sure how to like walk away. Like,
Right.
it's so hard. And I think this is why deconstruction is such a heavy thing, because it looks so different for everyone. For some people, they would be like, well, why don't just it's just a church, but you don't understand how entangled you get into these things. And your entire identity revolves around this. And then you couple that on top of how that church affects your marriage and your dynamic with your spouse.
Yep.
And so
because this isn't just a place you go on Sunday for an hour. This is your whole life.
Yeah.
Like, your whole life is entangled in this.
And
I remember her being unhappy, but I don't ever remember there being like an active plan to leave. Like,
yeah.
I feel like we were in that limbo.
Her and I had conversations, and I'm not going to go into like what was actually going on in her life at that time, because that's her story to tell. But her and I had conversations about like, and I'm like, just leave. Like, it sucks because like you said, everything is so entangled into this. And so you think I am a part of this family since I was 15 years old. These people have watched me get married, watched me get baptized, watched me have children, have baptized my children. Like, every aspect of my life for
is entangled
20 years revolves around this place. Not just I'm entangled. This is the center of my existence.
Yeah.
Everything revolves around come as you are.
Yeah.
And when I walked away, my entire universe imploded.
Yeah.
I walked, like, it literally was like I walked away from a family. I lost friends. People that I talked to every single day all of a sudden started like avoiding me in the grocery store. Like, it was brutal. And then to know that those people were saying things about me, like people that you genuinely loved.
Yeah.
And it was like this realization, and it all comes crashing back to you of like, this hurts. This is so painful. Oh shit, I did this to other people. So in the process of me trying to heal from that, I'm also trying to like reach out to people I know I did this to and apologize to them in my redemptive, like, I'm going to work on me and all of that. Like, I'm trying to walk away from my pit, and I'm having to apologize to people. And I think she looked at just how freaking hard that was for me. And, you know, there were some things going on within, you know, their marriage and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, her husband's like, hey, we could move away. Yeah. Like, we could just move away.
I do think like you become addicted to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so that's where like there wasn't an active plan. And then all of a sudden, like, her husband's like, let's move.
Yeah, he's like, we could like move away. And at first she was like, no, we're not, because like she had, found community here. Her boys had found community here.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, no. And then, like, honestly, I think it just, and I feel comfortable saying this because I think she had even said this on an episode before when she was on the podcast, like, it was easier to decide she's going to uproot everything, load up her entire house, and move from Colorado to Virginia.
Yeah.
Than it would have been to leave the
like,
church and stay in the community.
Yeah. And I think we're literally talking about you leaving was one thing, like that kind of put like the nugget in the air. But when I left and she was the only one.
Yeah, then she's all alone. Yeah.
We're talking about 30 days, not even 30 days from I left the church to they actually left the state.
Yeah. No, they left so fast. It went from, because we did 4th of July that year at our house because they had just started packing.
Yeah.
And they were gone by the end of July.
Yeah. And so like she knew she needed to leave, but couldn't figure out how. And it was easier to move out of the state than come up with a way to leave a church.
Yes.
It's a church.
Yeah. And
tell me you're in a cult without telling me you're a cult. You leave the state. That's like how you get out of like.
That's how you should have left your marriage. That is how you should have left your marriage. Run for your life. Go into hiding.
Like, it's a church.
So
I think I just had this realization of like the weight of her saying it was easier. Like,
yes.
I'm like, yeah, I know. Like I know I was there. But like from the outside looking in, like this is a place that you go to practice out your faith 1 hour a week on a Sunday. But when you actually think of the weight, how this church was the nucleus of your life, like you talked about, like I think it was far worse than any divorce for you to break up with the church. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because it's even your marriage was on the outside of this nucleus of this church. Like most people think like their home and their marriage is like the center of their life. And then they get a divorce and their whole world falls apart. Your marriage even revolved around the nucleus of this church.
Everything. My parenting, my marriage,
everything.
My job. Like I floundered for a while. Like, and I literally had this like, this is why they say you can't leave. Like, this is so hard. I'm all by myself. And then I was like, then you start to question, did I really, like, is God abandoning me because I've chose to walk away? Like you start to like, spiral and almost like gaslight yourself into believing the bullshit that you've consumed all these years. And so then it's I'm like relying on her to like process this stuff, but then she's also like still there. And she's still like, I mean, they're getting ready to do like they're not going to do VBS this year. They're going to do the Kids Church Live because it worked so well last year during COVID. Like, it's like all of this stuff. And it's like, I think over on our Patreon, this is a good conversation to have because like, this is something that, after Brandi left the podcast, we kind of came to this realization of like, when she left, I think she wanted to leave all of us. Like she just wanted to leave and start fresh.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we're trauma bonded. You're my friend for life. Like, like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I forced that relationship onto her. And that wasn't right of me. And so I think that's a good conversation to have over on our Patreon of just kind of like what our friendship looked like after that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the church, like, she decides she's gonna leave, and she goes through like the normal process that, like, if you're just like, she's like, yeah, you know, my husband, he got this job out of state, we're gonna have to move, you know, so like I'm putting in my notice. All of that. They threw her a going away party, like,
Yeah.
it, and like,
It's interesting to me the level of it fascinated me the level of connectedness that the three of us had, right?
yeah.
And even closer than the three of us are, the two of you were,
Mm-hmm.
to the point that it was even acknowledged, right, at the church, like you girls,
Mm-hmm.
right, which started out as you and Brandi, and then I
And
got
then
looped into that too, right? Like how grouped, like we became, like us, the three of us, became public enemy number one before we ever were public enemy number one. But yet also, there's no connection when Brandi leaves the church. Like she's not connected to us at all.
Well,
Like,
and I feel like once
how-
you and I left, you and I became you girls.
yeah,
And then Brandi was like, oh, but you're staying. You're,
yeah.
and so then,
Like it weirds me out. But I also know behind the scenes that wasn't the truth.
yeah. But I also know, like, during that time, like, once you and I both were gone, Brandi was sweetie. Brandi was, you know, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And Tom and Charlotte, you know, really walked that fine line. They weren't going to push her. Like, they were really pushing you and her with Miss America, and that, like, stopped,
Yeah.
you know? And, like, so when she announced that she was leaving, there was a bunch of different dynamics that were going on, because there was this, like, when I left, Miss America supposedly picked up the pieces, right? But a lot of what I did in the office, Lori took on herself, and Brandi took, so the two of them working together were able to do what I was doing. And then Miss America just kind of like did random other stuff, right? And so it was like, oh, well, we didn't need Amanda because we have Brandi. Well, now Brandi's leaving. Okay, well, shit.
But how weird is it that this woman, at the time I would consider one of my best friends, is actively participating in a relationship with my abusive husband, estranged husband's parents?
Yes. But then she'd call us and talk shit on like
This is the straight, like, I know this story, and I'm having like
no,
a moment of like, how effed up is all of this, that, like, I mean, you're gonna get there and like people will understand how intertwined she is with my in-laws at this moment in time. Within 30 days of their psychotic son leaving my house and Tom offering to pay his son money to get out of my house, my best friend is intertwined in a relationship with them.
yeah.
And we were all like, this was normal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And everything was
It
great.
just gets
Everything,
better.
yeah. And so there's that dynamic of like, she's leaving, we need to, you know, all of this stuff, but then like, oh, we're sad she's leaving. But then she expected pushback because I got pushback when I tried to quit, right?
Yeah.
So she expected pushback. And so like we rehearsed what she was going to say when she went into Tom and was like, hey, I need to put in my notice, you know, and, you know, she expected, you know, him to be like, well, you can't leave, blah, 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 all this stuff. Like, you have to be sent by the church if you're going to leave, like all his BS stuff that we've talked about before, right? And her big big thing that was going to save her was this was her husband's decision. This isn't her decision.
Yeah, she has no choice.
Yep, she's being the submissive wife. She will honor her husband's authority. He wants to move for this job. They are going to move for this job. And it makes her sad, but she knows God is on her side. And all the stuff, like we rehearsed this, right? Like she had all the things to say. And do you know what Tom told her? This is great. Because this just means we can pay Barry more.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going. Excuse me. Pay.
Not only are we going to pay him, we can pay him more, which means we're already paying him.
So the man who wasn't gonna be a pastor, he's not a pastor. Why are you so upset? Why are you so mad about this? This makes no sense. I never said he was a pastor. Have we done anything to make him a pastor? Like, why are you so mad about this? We're paying the man.
And he's not even a pastor. He's not anything.
And
he's not anything. He's somebody who attends the church and you're paying him.
And we're excited that Brandi's leaving.
So we can pay him.
So what money Brandi had been making, and the fact that All Reliable he was retiring, but like he's still a pastor at the church, but he was like going into retirement. So like he wasn't going to be like, he's still a pastor and has authority, but like he was going to let some of the things like the hospital visitation and all of that, like some of that go. So like what he was getting paid from the church and what Brandi was getting paid from the church. This is amazing because now this is even more money for Barry. And this is great because he is leaving this like lucrative, doctoral practice to come and be a pastor. And this is amazing. This is a huge blessing for his family. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Brandi, for blessing Barry. And like she called and told me, like when she finished at the office that day, she called me and I was like, but yet he's not a pastor. He's not a and immediately, do you know what they started calling him?
Yep.
Pastor Barry.
Yep.
To my knowledge, there was never a ceremony. If there was, it wasn't promoted online. There were no pictures posted anywhere. There was no, like, we are licensing him. People get up and share their, like, I'm affirming I see this in this man. We all gather around, lay hands and pray. All the bullshit that we've done for all the other, that wasn't put out there anywhere. So if they did that, it was quiet and it was private.
Yeah. And this is why I feel like we need to cut the crap on the separation of church and state dogma. And there needs to be a regulating authority over what it takes, like over pastors.
Because all of a sudden we just started saying Pastor Barry.
And now you're a pastor. And what? Yeah. Yeah.
Because the last person who was going to pitch a fit and do it loudly and could cause a problem was Brandi, and she's leaving.
Yeah. And I think it's so funny because like it made sense in the moment because you and I knew the truth. Like Brandi was on our side. Brandi was on our team. She was leaving. We knew that, right? And so we also understood the protocol to how to get out. Like I just spent, months scheming and scraping by to get out of my marriage. The church was like the icing on the cake for me. Like I wasn't leaving the church. I was leaving my marriage. You had months, a year of trying to leave, of like trying to quit your job and trying to get untangled. Like we knew it took time. So it was totally normal. I still just look back on it and I'm like, I think that's what trips me out is the fact that it was normal.
Yeah.
To us at the time.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, like, I really want to talk about, like, this is the part where how intertwined were Tom and Charlotte in the 30 days
Yeah.
in the process of Brandi actually moving, because that is the part that, like, you cannot tell me, you will never convince me that I was not in a cult.
No.
Like, this is not a church. Like, we're done with that. This was not a church. Like, this is a cult.
And I mean,
This goes beyond the level of church intervention and church action and church level in your life. Like, this is where, like, big red flag.
yeah. And I mean, I will say, like, they threw her a going away party, and like they offered to send the old men over to her house to load up the moving. Like, she got pods, you know, and they were going to like send the pods, like load up the pods and send them to Virginia first, and then they were going to drive out. And so like they off, and she was like, oh no, we got it. And it was like me, my family, her family, and then like another friend of ours, like them, we had them loaded up, their pods loaded and everything for them, because she didn't want the church to be involved in that. But like they offered those things, but like, I don't know. It's weird, because it was almost like I felt at the time that they were trying to appease her so she wouldn't cause a problem.
Right.
And she wouldn't leave loudly.
But I think that's interesting because, like, we left, she's there, and then she decides she's going to move. And then that's when she was like, no to the church. Like, up until then, like, but that she was willing to not, like, she didn't negotiate. Like, Tommy was so intertwined in her house sale before, but not this time. Like, she didn't use the church's real estate agent. She didn't allow Tom and Charlotte to be involved in that process, right? Like, and then she even turned down the movers, right? Like, so it was like, once she decided this was her out,
yeah, and
she made it very obvious to the church, like, I'm done with you.
Well, and that's that, and she's even said it, like, once I decide I'm done, like, you're dead to me. Yeah. Which is like, over on Patreon we'll have this conversation, because I feel like she was like, I'm moving, you're dead to me, and I'm like, hello, I'm here, I'm your friend, be my friend. Like,
right? No, yeah.
So she had that mindset, but even like it got up to like the week that they were leaving, and Charlotte shows up and has an envelope full of money for them.
Yeah. Weird.
And it's like, we felt like you should have that. Like, I don't understand. Like, and in all of this, like, when I left the church, we were one of the top tithers, and it's not like we're making a shit ton of money. Yeah. Like, we are the paycheck to paycheck people, right? We were top tithers. So when we left, like that Easter, I decided I'm leaving. I'm not coming back. I stopped tithing instantly. Done tithing. And
you paid the wrong one hush money.
And yeah. It took.
You didn't pay me for putting up with your psycho son.
Yeah, he didn't pay you hush money. I sure as hell didn't get any hush money. It took Tom a few weeks to realize that my tithe check wasn't coming in. Then he texts me and he said, so I heard you're going to another church. You didn't even have the gall enough to tell me. And I said, I'm not going to another church. Because at that point we weren't.
Right.
And I was like, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you could have called and told me. And I'm like, y'all,
my problem.
You all made it very, very clear that you had zero shits to give about me.
Justice, like, that's like Froggy.
So the fact I haven't been at church for weeks, and that didn't raise any red flags to you, but the fact that you finally looked at the tithe report and you realized my check wasn't coming in. No.
Like, that was what Froggy said to me You could have told me you canceled the insurance. I blocked you in October. And you thought to go to the doctor in November.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said to me. You could have told me. Excuse me?
So
I blocked you. I did tell you.
yeah. Yeah. So Brandi leaves. She leaves with this money that Charlotte gives her. And at this point,
your money.
when Brandi and her family left, her husband and my husband were coaching. Her oldest son and my middle son were on a baseball team together. And our husbands were coaching that team. It was like a rec league, summer rec league team, right? We had the tournament that weekend. So they had loaded the pods. They had just what they had, at their house. They were going to stay at the house through the weekend, in the empty house through the weekend for the tournament, and then leave. The day before the tournament, Friday, they decide we're leaving today. They decided on a whim that they were leaving. Yep. And this was incredibly hurtful to my family that these were our best friends. These were my kids' best friends. This was my husband's best friend. My husband was at work. They left and he didn't get to say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
They came to the house. The kids were crying. I was crying. Brandi Brandi doesn't cry, but I was crying. Mostly because I watched our boys have to say goodbye to each other. I'm getting choked up now because I'm like, No,
because they were prepared to have this.
Well, and this is, and it's not her. This is this is one of the side effects.
No, this is her.
Of this type of system.
No, this is her. She came into the system with this. This is her MO. This is what she did.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And there's a reason why she was in the same system we were in. But I'm done excusing shitty things that people do.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because
what I was saying was our kids were innocent in all of this.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things that as a mom I look at and I'm like,
because this was awful. This was awful. And it's okay to say that you were mad at her. I was mad at her.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's okay. It's okay. This is when we were in the cult and we thought that we had to forgive everything that everybody did.
And that's not it. It's honestly, for me, it's the whole, I watched my kid's heart be tore out and I was like,
yeah. And she didn't care. She was done. She needed to leave and she packed up and left. There were plans in place. Yeah. They were going to stay. There were plans in place. There was going to be planned goodbyes.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I love Brandi to death. And I really do wish, there's part of me that wishes we were good friends.
Oh, yeah.
She was somebody that I could, her and I became really good friends. And for somebody who doesn't have a ton of friends, right? When you find that person that you march to the same beat as, it's a rare thing. And I feel like that's also what led to us all not being friends anymore, because this incident happened in July of 2021. And it really is one of the things that was brought up when we all stopped being friends.
Yeah. Was you left.
You made a decision. You did what was best for you, and you care less who you hurt and who you left in the wake.
Yeah. Because, we had to show up to the tournament the next day, and people are like, where are they at? We're like, they moved away. Sorry, guys. The parents were like, what the hell? Who the hell does that?
Did you go to the park event? Or they came by your house, and then they went to the park, and then they left?
No, we did the park. The park they did earlier in the week. because Brandi wanted to be able to, so like the going away party that they did.
Yeah.
That was earlier in the week because Brandi wanted to be able to like just be done with the church and then be able to focus on moving.
Okay.
So I wasn't going to go. And Brandy's like, you need to go. And it was more like for,
I wasn't going to go either.
It was more like for show of like, oh, you're moving. I didn't know you were moving. Oh, that is news to me. Like, and so it was kind of like a show of like, because like the people that were invited were like anyone who has ever had a relationship with Brandi or felt like Brandi touched their life. And so it was more like a facade for me to show up.
Yeah. Me too. Because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Because my mother-in-law was going to be there. Like it was all women. Like it was all the women.
It was all the women of the church. Our kids got to play together one last time.
Yeah.
And
we weren't in a place. It's weird because this is 30 days after my husband has left my house, within 30 days. And I have to show up at this park event with people from the church.
Yeah.
I did not want to be there. I didn't want to go. I went because Brandi said I had to go.
Yeah. Same.
I think you and I, the three of us, were like, well, we're all going to go together and suffer because she didn't want to be there either.
Yeah. She didn't want it. And but again, you can't, there's that like, she had already said no to the guys loading up the pods. So, you know.
And everything that happened in my marriage was still fresh enough.
Yeah. But we all stood.
I still had to go to the stupid,
and we all stood there all together and took a picture.
I know. And we didn't talk about, like, and this is the psycho part. Like, Charlotte, we didn't acknowledge that there was anything wrong.
Yeah. There was a couple women who came and whispered to me, like, are you coming back to church? And I did the like polite, like, oh, we're just taking a break right now. Like, you know, I didn't.
Yeah, nobody talked to me about anything. Nobody knew. We just ignored it.
Yeah.
We just pretended like Tom didn't just
pay his son to leave your house.
Pay his son to leave my house within 30 days.
Yeah.
And nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist if we don't talk about it.
Yeah. So.
And I didn't really talk to Charlotte. Like, there was no, like, it was like a underlying understand, like, don't talk about it. I don't know. It's so weird.
So, yeah. So we have this going away thing. It's like in the middle of the week. We meet at a park. We, you know, the kids play whatever. Then that Friday, you know, they show up at our house in the morning. And I mean, it wasn't even like a like, we're gonna, like, for a little bit it was, well, we're gonna leave today. And I was like, so you're like missing baseball? Like you can't leave. We have the tournament. And it was like, no, we're gonna leave today. And it was, well, we'll leave this afternoon. And so like Justin was gonna like get off work early and come home so that he could say goodbye. And when they stopped by the house, right? Or we were gonna like meet him somewhere or something, you know, and we were all gonna be able to say goodbye. And then it was like within an hour, it switched, it changed, and all of a sudden they're at the house and you know, all of our kids are crying. I'm crying because I'm watching like my kids say goodbye to their best friends. And you know, Jason even is a little teary-eyed and hugged me. And Brandi was like, see you later.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like, well, peace out. Like, yep, we'll call you when we get there. And like, I had to call Justin. I was like, they just showed up. Like, they're gone. And he's like, what do you mean? So he calls Jason and he's like, dude, I would have let, and he's like, yeah, sorry. Like, we had to go. Like,
yeah,
it was wild to me. It was wild to just like, walk away. And I mean, like, we had another friend, the one who helped load up the car, like, she was really hurt that, like,
Yeah.
well, we thought we were going to be able to, because her kid was on the baseball team too. Like, we thought we were going to be able to have this tournament. We were going to be able to, like, all go out to dinner together and like really say goodbye. And she's like, I didn't even, like, she got a text, like, peace out, and it just,
because she pulled the plug before she had to experience her emotions.
yeah. And so, we're going through all that. And then like a week later, where I'm start getting these texts from this woman who is still at Come As You Are, but she is like, she doesn't want to go anymore, but she's there for the tea. Like, she's just like, I'm just going to go to this stuff and see like what is said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she gets called to this meeting, and they basically take anyone who's serving in any ministry. And Tom calls them all into this meeting in the sanctuary. And they all come in, and Tom basically goes on this rant about how he doesn't want to hear anything else about Brandi and Amanda. He doesn't want to hear about how they used to do things this way, or this is how Amanda did it, or this is what Brandi said. He doesn't want to hear our names anymore in ministry. God leads this church. Brandi and Amanda thought that they could do things however they wanted, and look where they are now. So we're done talking about it. And this woman is in this meeting, and she's live texting me what Tom is saying in this meeting. And
so crazy.
It's basically that you're not allowed to say they don't exist anymore.
Debriefing. This is how we're going to handle the Brandi and Amanda situation.
So we threw Brandi a going away party.
Yeah.
We gave her money. On the outside, the general church body thinks Brandi left on good terms.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have this meeting of people who are serving, and they're told Brandi is this Jezebel of a person. He's done talking about her. Then, like, a couple months go by, and the woman who took Brandi's place as the leader of children's ministry and all of this stuff calls Brandi out of the blue, just beside herself, upset, and she cannot understand how Brandi did it all.
Yeah.
Because the story has changed, the lore has changed, and so to this woman, to manipulate her into doing what Tom wanted, Tom makes Brandi into this. Anything her or I did together was all of a sudden all Brandi.
Yeah.
Brandi did that all by herself. And so
Saint
Brandi's house,
kids, helping other people with their kids, and she did all this stuff.
Yeah, she babysat other people's kids. Her house was always spotless. She was always put together. Everyone was always, she organized meal trains. She led children's ministry. She did this, she did this, she did this, she did this. Never mind half the shit I helped her with, and never mind
more than half of it.
You were involved in it. And never mind the fact that he had morphed me and her into one person now.
Yeah.
And she just couldn't understand. And it comes out in that conversation. Tom is telling people that because of her background at Saddleback, which she went to like youth group as a teenager a few times at Saddleback, her experience at Saddleback, and then she came to Come As You Are, and Tom molded her and made her such a great leader. She was offered a director position at this mega church in Virginia for their children's ministry under Tom's tutelage, she has gotten this amazing job. And if
Yeah.
you too work hard, look what you could do. We are raising leaders here at Come As You Are. Tom is telling people, like, first of all, Brandi's not even going to church. Brandi deconstructed her faith far longer before you and I. It took us like a year, and we're untangling and we're in therapy and all of this stuff. And Brandi's like, nope, I'm done. I'm done with church. We're not going. And like, she's not even going to church anywhere. And Tom is telling people she is like this like mega church children director, and he got her this job. Like, freaking wild.
Tells the lady, first of all, I didn't do any of that stuff. Second of all, I'm not even going to church.
So all of that happens.
Could you imagine?
You and I and the woman who, you know, is a part of Come As You Are getting ready to start a new season of the podcast.
Yep.
And she asks us to go to coffee.
Well, wait, hold on. So she does, but we went on a little retreat, the three of us.
Yes, to plan the next season.
So that we could get away, we could hear from God, and we would plan out our season. And like, I think this is really important. Like, in this whole, like, the three of us got a cabin in Estes Park, and we spent a weekend writing down our thoughts and talking through what we thought the next season was going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing. And then she's like, we need to go to coffee. Okay, let's go to coffee. And it didn't seem as like, I don't know. I guess I was a little oblivious. I didn't quite see it for what it was going to be.
I thought we were just getting together to have coffee.
Yeah,
I honestly, like that is, no, I was just as oblivious as you, because that is what I thought was.
Because we had just come back, like, within a little bit of time from this planning retreat that we did.
Yeah. And so she asked us to go to coffee, and we go to the coffee shop in town. And we're sitting outside on their little, you know, patio tables or whatever, drinking our coffee. And she tells you and me that, you know, it was not right that we left the authority of the church, and the podcast needs to go back under the umbrella of authority of the church because Tom is the pastor. And
we didn't leave with permission.
Yeah, we didn't ask Tom's permission to leave. We didn't take the podcast away with his permission. And so we need to submit to his authority.
And since we did that, and that's already done, that she has to leave because we didn't leave in the right way.
Well, first, I felt like she was trying to talk us into like putting the podcast back under Tom. And because
I didn't get that impression. I just got that we should have done it that way in the first place. That's weird. That's funny.
Well, the reason why I had that impression is because she's saying these things to us, and she says like, well, Tom's authority, and you and I are like, he's not our pastor anymore.
Yeah.
He has no authority over us. And so,
but that's what I felt like. Okay, so maybe that's okay. I could see that. I could see how we both like. I was like, yeah, like, but I was so done.
Yeah. So
that's so funny to see how we're into it, because you left the church.
Yeah.
I left my marriage.
Yeah.
And she's talking about Tom's authority, and I'm like, and I'm in the same boat you are, where I'm like, Tom has no authority over me. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And like, I didn't even think she's wanting us to put it back. I'm just thinking she's like, telling us how wrong we are.
Yeah, no, I guess that's how I took it, was like, we have to put it back. Yeah. And when you and I were like, no, Tom doesn't have authority over us. Like, he's not our pastor. Like, that's not, like, we're under God's authority, not Tom's. Yeah. And then she was like, well, then I need to leave the podcast. And the whole coffee thing, like, it went very well. It went very amicable. Like, you and I weren't like, what the hell is wrong with you? Can you not see how toxic? We were like, hey, if that's your decision, that's your decision. Like, if you want to stay, that's great. Like, no animosity. We fully understand. Like,
Yeah.
We all have to do what we feel like God is asking us to do. And we feel very passionately that this, and I think it helps that like you and I started this with Brandi, like it, but it was like really you and I were the main like driving force of this. And she came in later.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more dicey and a lot harder of a conversation had she been there from the beginning, but she came in later.
Yeah.
And
So there's already a set, like she was, and that's kind of how I took it, where she was feeling guilty, like in the moment, because it took me a while to kind of really see all the underlying tones of this coffee meeting. But like in the moment, I was just like, okay, you came in and you're leaving. That's fine. It's your free choice. Like this is come to the table. You can sit here as long as you want. You can get up and leave the table when you want. Like there's no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
So whatever, you want to be here, you want to not be here. And it wasn't until like processing it over time of the like her pledging allegiance to Tom.
Yeah.
Right. Like that of like, he got to her, because when you think about it, you left, I left, Brandi left.
Well, and I'm sure you and I, like, we go on this weekend away. She had to have gone back and been excited about it. Like, said things maybe in a women's ministry, something, or, to Charlotte and,
Oh my gosh, I never thought about that. That's exactly what happened. You left, I left, Brandi left, and then
she had this great experience with you and I, and we had already had the meeting that all of us are terrible.
She was forced to choose, and she chose the cult. But then moves, like, right after that. But then, like, because I still was friends with her for a while, even while we were doing this podcast. But at some point that ended because we saw things completely different and we quit talking. But she still claimed, but I said this in like a couple episodes ago, like she still claims Come As You Are as her church family, even though she lives in a different state, an hour away, and goes to a totally different church.
Yep.
Crazy.
And that's how deep it runs, I mean, there's people who have moved away, haven't been back to Colorado for decades, and still consider Come As You Are their family. And wherever wherever they're going, there are people. There are people who live in other states across the country who moved away in the early 2000s and still send money to Come As You Are.
And attend other church and are a part of another church family.
Yes.
And we knew that. And that was normal. That was bragged about.
Oh, yes. Look at they love the family. See, this is proof. We're a family.
The cult was telling us it was a cult, and we were all like, yes, we want to be a part of it.
Yeah. So she leaves the podcast, and it's just you and me.
Yep.
We're going down this path. We're deconstructing live on our podcast. And then all of a sudden, the tone of Come As You Are shifts to we're family. We're family. We're family. We're family. Because you and I start saying stuff on the podcast about where we are in our deconstruction journey and where we are with kind of like trying to figure out where we are with the church and not just Come As You Are church, but like church in general and all of these things. We start talking about those things. Now, all of a sudden, Come As You Are is a family. And Tom and Charlotte host a giant barbecue at their house and invite the entire church to their house, and they all stand in their yard, and someone stands up on their deck and takes a picture down into their yard of the whole church standing in Tom and Charlotte's yard, and they take a family picture.
Yep.
And they post it and it says something that if you were just to look at it, you're like, oh, it's a church family. That's sweet, blah, blah, blah. But if you were on the outside, it was a giant middle finger to you and me. It was that, God has made us a family, and all of the BS that kept people in and kept people coming and all of that. And I think for me, that was like, I had come to terms with the fact that Tom had lied and all of those things and all of that, but I still lived under this, like, well, if God is allowing this to happen, that picture for me was like, there's no God. He's doing this entirely for himself. This was me cracking the door open to the thought of, this has nothing to do with Jesus. This has nothing to do with God. This is a man controlling people for his own benefit.
Yeah.
Burning Butterflies is a listener-supported podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing supporters on Patreon.
Follow the link in our show notes to learn how you can become a Patreon supporter too. Supporters get exclusive access to bonus content each month, including outtakes, cut content, and supporter-only episodes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating on your listening platform.
Burning Butterflies is a production of Asha Media. Thank you for listening.